Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's time for 3 Men in a Box with Matt Grissom and Quentin Mills for Friday, March 29th, 2024. Yes, MLB has begun. Yes, it's Sweet 16 in college hoops. Yes, NCAA hockey regionals. We got college baseball, and I heard just through the grapevine, there's a big matchup here in the SEC, which I'm not going to talk about. I'm going to allow the two stars of this show, Matt and Q, to break down that one. But first and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsor and partnership. Of course, it's WagerWire. If you have not downloaded the app, please run on over to Google Play or wherever you download the apps. It's free. And from there, scroll down to the bottom. Take a look at all the sports books that are available in your state. Download them. Take advantage of your match play, your free bonuses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Get to know it. Start to make your wagers count. Keep track of that ROI. And if you're looking for a little flash cash or a little side hustle, send an email to affiliate@wagerwire.com. Tell them JD from ECSI sent you. Zach, Travis, Matt, everyone from that team and community will take good care of you. So without further ado, let's bring in the two stars of this show, Mr. Matt Grissom and Quentin Mills. Afternoon, gentlemen.
Hello, Jeff.
What's going on, Jeff?
You know, it's Good Friday. Happy Easter to everyone here watching and already standing room only as they're piling in. They know what time of week it is right now to catch you guys and some college baseball. Again, Sweet 16, college hockey going on as we speak, MLB, but it's the kids of summer, not the boys of summer. It's the kids of summer, and it's glad to have you both back.
Glad to be back.
Yeah, I always love the Friday spot.
The slot.
Well, what are we, 6-7 weeks in right now, guys?
Yeah, week 7.
Week 7. Before you know it, we'll be talking about conference championships, regional play, and the road to Omaha. But first, Matt, we're going to give you a start. How was last week? How was your eyes? What you saw leading into last weekend, and what did you see last weekend?
Well, last week was kind of drunk. A lot of weird upsets, a lot of blown leads. But overall, I mean, it was a fun weekend. It was a busy slate. We've got, now that we've hit conference play, it's just going to be more of the same. But last night, gotta give it to my Arkansas Razorbacks. Hagen Smith was on the bump, 10 strikeouts. They get the win 7-4 over LSU. Jay Johnson played a little chess. He's going to throw Luke Holman, their ace, tonight instead of last night, where it was kind of a bullpen game. So we were expected to win. I'm not going to say that we're going to win the series tonight with Holman on the mound, but should make for an interesting game. Our projections have it a 50-50. I think last time I checked, you can get the Hogs at a little plus money. So not a homer pick, but Hogs are riding a 15-game win streak. It's a 50-50 game, and you're getting plus money. So you do the math if you want to make the play or not.
Is this a 4-game slate or a 3?
Yeah, it's 3.
So the Friday night lights, where, in other words, you said checkers and chess there. Hagen Smith, obviously, the stud, the ace of the show. You went out and got the win yesterday, and now, I mean, obviously we want to sweep the series, but at least a split, you win the series, correct?
Yes. Yeah. We, with 3 games, I mean, tonight would be a big win. I don't know if we'll get it against Holman, but Mason Molina has been just as good as any other Friday night guy in the country. He's got a 1.87 ERA or a 2.57 ERA, a 1.87 Sierra. Just he's really seeing it well. So I feel like we're going to give Luke Holman a run for their money. Hogs have been really good about getting on base. So anytime that Holman misses a pitch, I feel like the Razorbacks will take advantage of it. Then after they're on base, it's capitalization. They're going to do it behind probably 14,000 screaming drunk fans, me and Haley being 2 of them.
Q, welcome back.
Welcome. Thank you.
And congratulations on your work promotion, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Hard earned, new challenge.
There you go. Last weekend, let's take a step back. How's the Florida Gators? How are we doing over there?
They might do something that's never been done. They might essentially lose almost every midweek game and win every weekend series. I'm convinced they have 2 teams. You got your scholarship weekend team, and Tuesday and Wednesday night is what we call intramural or club baseball. So it's been a roller coaster. It's two-faced. It's everything that is normally not Florida baseball, but they're finding ways to beat the best team. So I guess at some point you can't knock them down too much.
And last weekend, what'd your eyes see? How'd you perform last weekend?
I thought they maybe swung the bat a little too much against Luke Holman. A lot of curveballs in the dirt. I mean, I know he's an elite pitcher. It looks great coming out of the hand. Just if we could get slightly better plate discipline, I think the whole lineup, I think they'll be in good shape. But I think the true freshmen, Matt and I have talked about it all year. Florida had, I think it's like 11 or 12 of 20 of their pitching staff members are all considered true freshmen. And that's tough, right? Especially when you're playing in the cream of the crop, the SEC. You have to learn on the fly. And, Sully has to win, but he also has to trust and develop these kids. And I think we're seeing that, especially against LSU. Maybe they're slightly down from last year's team, but still Alex Box Stadium is an extremely volatile and hostile environment to play on the road, especially knowing that LSU and Florida, the 2017 College World Series, last year in the College World Series, there's a little animosity there. And I thought the freshmen handled it very well, and you saw some growth. The Saturday kid, Liam Peterson, take the numbers out of it, it's probably his best outing all year. He just had 3 bad pitches, and unfortunately they went over the fence, and that's something you got to clean up. But it's encouraging. And then the bullpen, the 2 freshmen, Alex Philpott, Luke McNeely, they've kind of struggled in the midweek starting role, but out of the bullpen, they've been phenomenal. You can see the growth. You can see the confidence. So Florida's one of those teams that you started pretty high. Things got low. Maybe the freshmen aren't going to pan out, but now we're starting to see them kind of grow, and maybe they're not considered freshmen by May in Sully's eyes in America. And maybe they're dangerous because their season, similar to what Cade Fisher did last year, really anchored Florida in the Super Regionals and College World Series. So it's pretty cool to watch. Sometimes it's frustrating, but to see the maturity and the growth is exciting as a Gator fan, especially for next season.
Matt, we've been talking now for almost 2 months. Take your eyes back 2 months ago when you were putting all the prep together for your amazing preview. Teams that you thought would do well that aren't doing well, and teams that you were on the fence that have actually, taken that next step and a part of, not necessarily a trip to Omaha, but are exceeding expectations at this point.
One team that I'm kind of disappointed in would be Wake Forest. I knew they lost a lot on the offense, but coming in, I mean, we graded them at an A- on offense and A+ defense, A+ pitching, and they haven't been that great this season. And then to turn that over, I feel like you've got to give a lot of credit to Duke, even though here lately they haven't been playing really well. That was a team that kind of came out of nowhere. They were a C+ on offense, A's in pitching and defense. But then Virginia, I really feel like is they're in a prime spot to really take advantage. Assuming Clemson comes back down to earth, which I think we saw a little bit of that last night in their 3-2 loss to Miami. I think that may have been the score. Correct me if I'm wrong, Q. But yeah, I mean, the ACC is shaping up to be very similar to the SEC in the fact that all these teams are probably going to cannibalize themselves. And while Chase Burns with Wake Forest has been dominant, they shouldn't be the favorite, and I don't believe they are anymore to win the ACC.
Q, what are you saying?
Couple teams, I think TCU, we were extremely high. They've kind of fallen off the wagon a little bit. It's a little concerning with some of the acquisitions they made, but I think they can bounce back. Texas Tech was a team that really grew on me, and they just can't figure it out on the mound. Iowa out of the Big Ten, I thought maybe, pitching-wise, I thought they'd be okay, and that's half true. Their starters have, lived up to the height, and then after that, it's been a shit show. So if we could ever get first prize in college baseball, I'm riding Iowa every single game. And then their hitting, it's just pretty lackluster. I thought it would, with guys coming back, maybe be a little better than last year, but it's not. Teams that I think are playing better would be, Duke's offense is probably a little better than what I anticipated. NC State's hanging around longer than I thought they would. I think North Carolina is similar. And then I think Georgia's legit. I think if they can get a staff going, I think Goldstein's a decent guy. He's like a Saturday or Sunday, but right now he's obviously anchoring the staff. If Wes Johnson can get, a good season, maybe have a little run in SEC tournament, get some transfers in, I think Georgia's set up for some long-term success. So they're a team that I think should be ranked in the top 25. They're not, but we'll see how it goes.
Shout out to Smitty. Smitty, I got a chair here waiting for you every week. He goes, guys,
I know.
Guys are crushing it. I'm crushing the sun in Naples, Florida. Hey, Smitty, it is rainy and raw in Cape Cod. We got 3 inches of rain last night. Send Noah's Ark, and will you send the damn sun, please? Jesus. Shout out to Smitty and all the work that he does as well. Matt, question to you. ACC last year around the midpoint of the year, again, easy on the brain here. When you get old, this stuff tends to run together. But a team called Virginia got hot, and you guys were talking about Virginia, and they had a great run. I've been following the ACC, the SEC because of you guys. I love what I'm seeing. You guys have been talking about Duke, Virginia, obviously Wake Forest. Who's this year's Virginia?
It might be Virginia.
Yeah, maybe North Carolina or Virginia. I mean, you look at any of these teams that are in, top 3, top 4 of their conference, that they're quietly winning series without stealing the headlines. Like, I feel like right now with Clemson jumping to number 3, they stole the headlines. So now it went from Wake Forest. Let's everybody talk about Wake Forest and how great they are. They're number 1. They're coming back for unfinished business. Clemson now is that talking point. And just like, I don't think they're going to get swept by Miami, but I'm not going to be surprised if they lose the series. I said it on our show on Wednesday night, but they're all going to cannibalize themselves. And so at the end of the day, you can't really get caught up in the fact that Clemson's number 3, Wake Forest was preseason number 1. I want to look at those like 8 to 15 ranked teams, because I feel like at the end of the day, that's where Virginia was last year. And they quietly worked their way in. And everybody's like, yeah, I know everybody was talking about Wake Forest, but this Virginia team's pretty good too. And I feel like you could say that about a lot of teams this year. But I would say Virginia, maybe even Duke, throw them in there. North Carolina is playing really good too. So I don't know. But like you said, maybe Virginia, that's the best, unkept secret, I guess, of the ACC.
Hey, Q, get us before I ask for that dismal UConn update. But the men's basketball team, just keep rolling. They play Saturday, about 7-point favorites against a real good Big Ten Illinois team. That's for another show there. And before we get the Husky baseball update, which is not pretty, any updates on the left coast? Who's doing well out west?
UC Irvine's doing really well. Oregon State, I don't know if we'll see a true test until regionals and super regionals with Oregon State, because I think the Pac-12 is just pretty atrocious. UCLA was ranked high. They're garbage. I think they're under 500. USC, we thought with the pitching staff they brought back, they might have some slight improvement. Arizona State can't figure out how to pitch a baseball. It's just overall bad conference, but record-wise, Oregon State's up there. I think the number 2 team in the country. What we're going to see, they have everything to be the makings of an Omaha team. I think they do get there, but when you then go into Omaha bracket play against 3 other top teams in the country, that's where we'll see. Same with UC Irvine. I'm not overly familiar with them, maybe as intimately as I would be with like an East Coast team. I think that's it. Oregon fell off. Washington State, kind of hit or miss. The Pac-12 is just bad this year. Stanford struggling, can't beat anybody. I would say West Coast baseball is definitely not at its peak performance by any means. And, it's the opposite. Pac-12 basketball and football look pretty good this year. And then baseball, usually which looks dominant, is pretty dismal.
Matt, you see the same thing?
USC Trojans get the 2-1 win over Oregon State last night. I saw that.
Blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Plus 400 or whatever they were. Should have never been that high. Caden Aoki, his stats don't look good, but when you peel them back and you look at the advanced stuff, he's got it. Aiden May, he's a good pitcher, but he's not Caden Aoki. They get the win. I don't think they're going to win the next 2, but I don't know. Oregon State, you got the number 2, the number 3 team, both coming off losses after last night. So all the pressure's on Arkansas now at number 1.
All right, Q, give me the bad news. The UConn Huskies report.
I'll be honest. Last weekend, I believe they got swept by – were they playing Boston College or was that midweek?
I think it was BC, right?
I think it was. And I'll be honest, I completely blanked to look at them. But I'll tell you this. I doubt they win the series this weekend, whoever and wherever they're playing.
And I saw they had I think it was a midweek loss to NC State as well. Yeah, again, their magic of the past couple of years had to run out sooner than later. And as you talked about their scheduling this year, shame on their AD. It's been pretty brutal. So we'll live the glory off the women's and men's basketball this year, and hopefully we do well there.
Yeah, I was about to say, you can't have it all.
Yeah.
I sacrificed Arkansas basketball to have it in baseball.
You take that trade 7 out of 7 days.
Well, especially
absolutely. A lot of standing room only here. Anyone new to this channel and new to Matt and Q, make sure you go follow Matt at Grissom on X and Quentin Mills at Q Millie. Go follow the NCAA Insiders. If you guys are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, jump on over to YouTube. Take you 1 second at East Coast Sports Investor. Subscribe is free. And turn on the notifications so you never miss a show, especially here on Friday afternoons. Huge slate today. I got the Wager Talk live odds here. Pitt, Virginia Tech, North Carolina, Wake Forest, Louisville, Florida State. We talked about Virginia, who's at Duke, Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Florida, Auburn at A&M, Clemson at Miami, and, of course, LSU, Arkansas. I'm going to throw the slate over to you, Matt, and Q. Take it away. Preview whatever you want to your heart's desire.
Q?
Go ahead, start it off.
I lost my notes. Here we go. All right, so we talked about Arkansas. We're not going to keep hammering that. It's a great game tonight. Go watch it. Let's see. Duke with Jonathan Santucci beat Virginia in game 1. We thought that was coming. We had a 63% win probability for the Duke Blue Devils. I am on Virginia today. I feel like getting plus money. They're in a good spot with Evan Blanco on the mound going against Andrew Healy. Both of their stats are pretty neck and neck with the slight edge to Evan Blanco. So let's get the Cavs home today. Texas A&M took care of business against Auburn. I did just put in a bet on Auburn Tigers plus 210, I believe. I think they get one of these games. So if you're going to get over 2-1 odds. You might as well bet them today and tomorrow. I don't think they get swept. I'm not completely sold on this A&M staff either. I just need to see them against better competition because when they played against Q's Florida Gators, they lost the series. So South Carolina, Alabama, that was one I was wrong on yesterday. I do feel like South Carolina bounces back and gets a win today. I'm on a lot of dogs today. I think plus 114, plus 120, something around that for South Carolina is a good price. You got Dylan Eskew with his 3.81 ERA going up against Ben Hess, who was their Friday night guy. He's got a 5.11 ERA, better Sierra. But again, South Carolina, Alabama, they find themselves in just kind of this middle of the road pack. You've got number 16 versus number 18. I don't think Alabama gets the sweep. I do think they win the series, so I'm going to keep taking South Carolina until they prove me wrong. Q, I'll let you get into the ones tonight if you want to. North Carolina, Wake Forest.
I think with Chase Burns sliding into the Friday role, if UNC's looked really good with Fulger Boaz, but I just don't see them being able to hit. And hopefully this isn't the start where they get shut out, and this kind of sends the Tar Heel lineup into a downward spiral, but it's possible. I think Chase Burns has another outstanding outing. I think they get it done. I had them paired up with Florida. Florida's game 1 tonight. Big news, Brandon Neely, their ace closer, is now stepping into the Friday night role. To see if it's temporary or permanent, we'll kind of play it by ear. But he's excited. Insider source says he wanted to be a starter from day one. He was a little aggravated that he wasn't, but obviously he did what was best for the team. Sully's just sick and tired of the team not winning in midweeks, or not showing up, rather, and then dominating the best teams. If you can beat the best teams, you should beat the worst teams in your sleep. And I think publicly calling him out, he shook up the lineup against LSU last weekend, and it worked. He's now shaking up the pitching rotation. So I think it's going to work again. I think Mississippi State's an improved team. I just think to have to go to Conjure Family Ballpark against a Florida team that seems to find ultra focused outings Friday through Sunday, it's going to be a tough draw. And as I've been told, sometimes I'm a little biased towards it, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a sweep there in Gainesville. I think Florida and Mississippi State are on separate levels right now. What else we have? Georgia, Tennessee. Billy Amick is out. That's a pretty big name for that lineup. I like the over in that game tonight. I think Charlie Goldstein gets hit pretty well by Tennessee's offense. Tennessee's looked a lot better this year in comparison to last year's team. But I also think A.J. Costley, he hasn't really had a bad start this year. And at some point or another, these Friday and Saturday guys are kind of having a down performance. And it's more of a matter of when, not if. And I think Georgia's offense is good enough to get some runs on the board and clear that. What else we got, Matt?
Well, I just put in a bet on Texas Tech. They got beat by UCF last night after holding the lead, and I feel like they bounced back. They shouldn't lose that series to Big 12 newcomer UCF. UL Monroe, they beat Coastal Carolina, and I'm going to pat myself on the back because I called that. We also really liked Miami to beat Clemson, but the number wasn't sexy enough. It was plus 120. We talked about that. It got up to like plus 140, plus 145. But really, if you went back and listened to our show Wednesday night, I feel like we hit the nail on the head pretty well with how we thought everything was going to shake out. Unfortunately, our best bets that I posted didn't do that. But I think I ended up still plus units up. But the more that I sit here and look at this Wake Forest North Carolina series, I get the move to throw Chase Burns. He has pitched like your Friday night guy. I feel like they win this game, but I'm not going to be surprised if North Carolina takes this series. And if they could steal one tonight, that would be huge. I feel like Wake Forest is way too overpriced for what we've seen so far. And they're 17-7. They're 4-5 in conference play. They've got the advantage on the mound, but not by much. And North Carolina's offense is way better. So I I don't know. Tread lightly. I think home teams went like 17-5 yesterday, though. It's kind of something to monitor because you don't really think of a home field advantage when it comes to baseball. But for whatever reason, the home teams are crushing it, especially on game ones.
Q.
Yeah, I'm actually opposite on the Wake Forest series. I think Wake Forest kind of gets right, and last year, remember, Rhett Lauder was their Friday night guy, and then Josh Hartle was a Saturday, followed by Seth Keener. Hartle then steps in to the Friday night role. It's a lot of pressure. To us, it's only just a day of the week, but to them, man, it's a different mentality. Like, you're the guy when you're on the Friday, and I think it's a lot of pressure. And I think I'll just use the example. Cade Fisher for Florida made that step from the bullpen to the Friday night, and he had his growing pains. He struggled, and I think he's going to be more relieved this weekend. And I think the same for Josh Hartle on the Wake Forest team. I think, I don't think these kids, especially on these good programs, take it as a failure. I think he's going to settle in. He knows, there's a good chance they're going to be up 1-0 in the series. Worst case, I lose the game on a Saturday and we're tied and we still have a chance to win it. But there's a different mentality when you're the guy on Friday and you let your team down and now you're out of a whole 0-1. So I think Josh Hartle can maybe take a deep breath, step back, relax, and settle into a nice Saturday role, similar to what he was in last year, a little less pressure. So I actually think Wake Forest wins the first two games, and then Massey would be a coin flip for me because it's just so hard to sweep in those power conferences.
Are these guys dark Sunday because of Easter, or are there games on Sunday as well?
There are. I think it's just common courtesy for a lot of the teams, but some are Friday to Sunday. I don't know who makes that decision, but I think it was, like I said, common courtesy to start most of them on Thursdays. Thursdays has been a trend the last two seasons. I think they're trying to push for a little more of that, especially making Sunday the travel day. I think it helps a little bit for these teams to get back to their universities and whatnot. But this is by far the heaviest Thursday slate of the season, and oddly enough, it's Easter. So I think there's some correlation there.
I'm looking at that LSU Arkansas 8:00 tonight.
That should be on ESPN. Personally, to have that on Plus is a shame in my opinion.
We were on ESPN2 last night. A lot of it is they're scheduled so far in advance. I mean, I think they released the schedule of who's going to be televised and what.
Like January.
Honestly, last night it should have been Hagen Smith versus Luke Holman. That's probably why that was slotted for ESPN2 and not ESPN Plus. But Jay Johnson out here playing chess, which I can't blame him. You're trying to win the series. You need that series win for the first time for the defending national champs.
Anything else, Mr. Grissom or Q? Anything else catching your eye for this weekend?
Not really. I'm going to play just an example. Some of them are the best play is no play and just really evaluated teams. So he mentioned, he's playing South Carolina today. I want to see who wins today, and then I'm taking the opposite tomorrow. I think whoever wins, that's the way to play it. You don't lose money today. You get a good scouting report. You see how the teams respond, and I think you can gain an edge that way. I did it last week or the week before with UNC Miami, and it worked out. I've done it with a couple other teams. So I'm not going to play Miami as another game today that I'm interested in. If they win tonight, then I'm hammering Clemson on Sunday. But if Clemson wins, I think Carrick Hernandez can potentially give Miami a good shot at a series win, and it's a series that they really need, to be honest. Really kickstart that program.
Matt?
I'm the opposite. I just started firing away. I've probably played 4 or 5 bets. I'm really leaning into our model here, our projections. There's still some discrepancy in these lines. Like I said, I am on a lot of dogs. I played an eighth of a unit on any dog plus 200 or more, and then played some quarter units, half units. As always, you can go to NCAAinsiders.com. You can click on our bet tracker, and you can see all of our bets as I place them in real time. I try to update that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm on Virginia, Arkansas, Ole Miss. That was a community play between Q and I. I took Arkansas plus 1.5 on the run line as well. South Carolina, like we talked about, just put a little eighth of a unit on Auburn and Georgia. I feel like they're too high priced. I mean, at the end of the day, these are ranked opponents. Georgia's not ranked, probably should be. They just swept Alabama. You're getting 2-1 odds. I mean, try to equate that to a football game. If you've got 2 top 25 teams in the SEC, rarely do you get a minus 200 favorite on the money line. And outside of like maybe an Alabama or Georgia. And these aren't the Alabama and Georgia of the SEC. So, or as far as baseball goes. So I think it's worth a shot with the number you're getting.
Closing thoughts, Mr. Quentin Mills.
We'll see if bullpens can hold up this weekend. They were drunk last weekend. There were no shows, that whatever you want to call it. I'm sure it's appropriate, but we'll see if they can hang tight, hold on, and get some wins for these teams that we've capped. We're on the right side analytically. We watch the games as well. I feel like Matt and I have a good combination and a good balance between the eye test and the numbers, and just stay with us. You know, we're going to win you money. So it's Easter season. Take the Kit Kats out of the little Easter eggs that you're putting for your kids. Throw a couple bet slips. That'll go a long way in their life.
Matt, where can they find all you guys' work?
At Grissom on X, and that's the X handle. And then NCAA Insiders.
He's locked up, Jeff. I got in his head.
I'm sitting here thinking about Kit Kats. I haven't eaten today.
I want to thank everyone standing room only here for our 3 Men in the Box, the last Friday show in the month of March. Again, if jump on over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors and subscribe, it's free. But the big thing is once you subscribe, turn on the notifications. Never miss a show with these fine young gentlemen here. Got all my plays ready to put in as soon as we wrap this up. It's Easter. I want everyone to have not just a good Friday, but a great, great weekend as well. Special thanks, as always, to Quentin Mills and Matt Grissom. We'll be back here next Friday, right around 2:30 as well. So everyone, have a great, great Easter. Enjoy Good Friday. Let's cash some tickets, and we will see you soon.
Hey, Jeff, before we go real quick, I do want to say one thing. If you go over to NCAAinsiders.com, we've got our YouTube page right there at the top. You can watch our latest show. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. It's right there for you. But also the 2024 preseason guide that we did, it's still up. And I urge you all, so college baseball, there's kind of a trend where a team may start out really hot and then they go cold. And that's when those odds really creep up and you can get some really good numbers on some long shots. So really hone in on a few teams that you may like that maybe were ranked high, that were like 12-1, 14-1 at the beginning of the season. But now you can find them on DraftKings, 25-1, 30-1, something like that. Throw some pizza money on it because you wouldn't be surprised how many teams figure it out around midseason and really start surging there at the end. I mean, we saw it with TCU last year. I think they had a losing record in the Big 12 play, but then they come into Fayetteville, they blow the Razorbacks out. They fight all the way to be one of the top 4 teams remaining. So I urge you all to take a look at that. If you haven't gotten into college baseball, that's a really good resource to start. So with that being said, thank you, Jeff, again, for letting us come on. Take over your show.
No. The stage is yours. I'm just here with the mic passing on the questions. And Matt brings up a huge, huge point there, people. And he talked about pizza and beer money. I talk about that all the time. The key to success in sports wagering is to build on a portfolio. And like March Madness, when I'm sitting here with a UConn ticket at 8-1, a Purdue ticket plus 850, my long shots, Kentucky and and Auburn left the building. They didn't even win a game. My point is, as you get to the Sweet 16, the Elite 8, the Final Four, you have hedge opportunities, not just to cover the ticket, but to guarantee profit. So as Matt and Quentin are saying is, they put this book together for a reason. So if a team was supposed to be good and their odds were, let's say, 8-10-1, that have started slow, now you can get them at 20-25-1. That's when you sprinkle the pizza and beer money in there. So once we get to conference tournaments, once we get to the regionals and the road to Omaha, you're looking at your portfolio like, holy shit, those guys are right. Well, that's why they're here. We're here to educate. with a little entertainment. We saved the entertainment for that four-letter word called ESP, and you can put the last word in there. So, anyways, from myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, Matt Grissom at Grissom on X, and Quentin Mills at Q Millie. That's 3 L's, 2 Y's, and of course, NCAA Insiders. Have a great, good Friday and a better Easter, and we will see you soon.